Now on Denver 7, left in the cold.
We had about 1 million blankets on us last night.
As the lights turned back on in Colorado homes, the hours without power felt long for so many homeowners.
I think about the neighbors that don't have generators and those that can't cook food and that are elderly living nearby.
A Broomfield neighborhood left in fear.
It's tragic, of course, that people lost their lives, but just very frightening for the community. Could have easily hit a home or someone out walking.
We have the latest on the deadly plane crash just as the community was healing from the first one.
Plus, a home away from home.
It's heartwarming to see that we are not forgotten, that people are thinking about us.
How Coloradans show up for their community as many still recover from the Marshall Fire. Thanks so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 10. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Byron Wang. Power outages across the Front Range impacted hundreds of thousands of customers over the weekend. At last check, about 3,000 customers in the Denver metro are still without power.
That's still a lot, and Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez spoke with people here going days without power in the middle of this spring snowstorm.
Late into Sunday evening, Excel crews worked around the clock to return service to thousands who were still without power.
We heard a loud boom, and then power's been out since then.
For Tim Yeager and his family, they had been without power for more than 36 hours.
Yesterday, my friend came over, and he's an electrician, so he hooked up a generator directly to our electrical box, and we were able to do the fridge and the furnace.
An outage unlike anything he's seen before.
I think about the neighbors that don't have generators and those that can't cook food and that are elderly living nearby.
We had about 1 million blankets on us last night.
Across town in the Barnum neighborhood, Veronica Barella and her husband felt the effects of the outage for more than a day.
It was, 28 hours that we were out our power.
All while recovering from COVID.
It's been very difficult because, COVID makes you really sick and, you need some heat.
When it comes to why power is restored in some neighborhoods before others, Excel says it's simple math.
We really work to go from high impact, high customer count and restore them, and all the way down to the one-on-ones.
Meaning, if they can fix a line that will restore power to thousands of people, they'll do that first. Excel also says this storm brought on a different set of challenges.
It was really heavy, wet snow, and so we had a lot of damage with trees hitting on power lines, poles breaking down and falling over.
Excel says it replaced 124 poles as well as 5 miles of electric line. For Barella, the thought of preparing for a future similar outage is concerning, especially because of how costly generators can be.
Well, the generators that, kick in if the power goes out, they're, I think, $3,000 to $5,000. You can get one for $500, but, people shouldn't have to do that.
A late spring storm with an impact felt across the Front Range. Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
And people are reaching out. Lakewood man. Starting tomorrow, Lakewood is opening a tree limb drop-off at the Jeffco Fairgrounds. Actually, several cities have set up special dump sites just for this storm, including Golden, Inglewood, and Arvada. In cities like Denver, you can put some of these branches out on Big Trash Day, so check your city's website to see what their plan is.
I don't know what the FAA can do, but, a plea to have them look at what can be done differently, not just keeping status quo.
A Broomfield neighborhood looking for answers after they're left with remnants of a tragic scene. 2 people are dead after another single-engine plane crashed into a residential area today.
Yes, absolutely, very tragic. And here's the thing, Jacqueline, it's the second deadly plane crash in Broomfield in less than 2 weeks. Denver 7's Patrick Perez spoke with neighbors who say they were hoping to never see this happen again.
A plane ride over Broomfield Sunday morning ended in tragedy.
Unfortunately, the 2 occupants on the single-engine plane did not survive the crash.
North Metro Fire Rescue District says it received a call about 11:50 a.m. from a homeowner who saw the plane go down in the Anthem Ranch subdivision.
And we've now had 2 plane crashes in Broomfield within the last 2 weeks with fatalities. And so it's hard for us as first responders and those of us in the community and residents to see this.
The plane crash landed just feet away from nearby homes. Neighbors say they heard a loud noise right before the impact.
Tragic, of course, that people lost their lives, but just very frightening for the community.
Could have easily hit a home or someone out walking.
Chris Rorty is the president of the subdivision's HOA. She says the community has raised concerns over the years about planes flying too close to homes. In 2018, a small plane crashed just down the street from this current scene, also killing both people on board.
Our concerns are growing, I guess, because we hadn't anticipated this and had hoped it never would happen again.
The plane took off from Erie Municipal Airport, which is just a few minutes away from the crash site. Why it crashed is under investigation by the NTSB and the FAA.
Our thoughts are obviously with those families because their loved ones aren't going to be able to come home to them today.
Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
And as we mentioned before, this scene is all too familiar in this area. Just 2 weeks ago, another pilot died after another single-engine plane crash at this intersection here in Broomfield. He had taken off from Rocky Mountain Airport.
All right, new at 10, 2 kids were shot inside the food court of the Citadel Mall in Colorado Springs tonight. At about 6 p.m., officers arrived and found a 12-year-old girl who was shot in the chest and began first aid. They believe she was an innocent bystander. Officers later found the other victim, a boy who had also been shot in the chest. His age is unknown, but police say he is under 18 years old. Police believe he was the intended target of the shooter, who is also a juvenile boy. The shooter is now in custody. Both victims have been taken to the hospital. Their condition is unknown at this time.
In Aurora today, a fight in an apartment complex parking lot leaves 3 people shot and injured. This is video from the scene this afternoon outside the Park Place at Expo Apartments off South Havana and East Exposition. Aurora police are asking for tips about how this fight started. All 3 people shot have serious injuries, but they are expected to survive.
All right, here we go again. As COVID cases begin to rise across the country, health officials are trying to prepare for another wave in the fall and winter seasons. According to the CDC, more than 100,000 new cases are being reported every single day. COVID-related hospitalizations have increased about 24% from the previous week. Now, health experts say the latest surge is due in part to new variants and subvariants, some of which are increasingly contagious.
If you have not gotten vaccinated in the last 5 months, if you have not gotten boosted, you need to go out and do that now.
Children 5 and younger are still not eligible for vaccines, though the FDA could make a decision on that in the coming weeks.
Here at home, Governor Polis signed an executive order today securing some more state and federal funding for public health response relating to this pandemic. That includes vaccine distribution, ensuring healthcare facility resources to treat COVID-19 patients, and improving the state's economic recovery. Some relief for desperate parents arrived in the U.S. today. Operation Fly Formula, bringing in 78,000 pounds of baby formula from Germany. This specialized formula will go to babies who are allergic to cow's milk protein. ABC News has learned that at least 4 infants in South Carolina were recently hospitalized because of medical complications. 3 of them admitted after they were unable to tolerate formula alternatives. The Biden administration says another shipment of formula will arrive at Washington Dulles Airport this week. Once in the U.S., the formula will be sent to a Nestle facility in Pennsylvania for inspection and distribution.
Starting tomorrow, RTD will be hosting several town hall meetings, and they are inviting the public to join. RTD will be covering a number of topics, including the fair study and equity analysis, safety and security on the RTD system, RTD's hiring efforts, and their plan to make RTD transportation more appealing to the public. You can take part on the phone or watch online. You can also sign up for the town hall on RTD's website.
Coming up on Denver 7 News at 10, forgiveness takes time and it helps build the bridge toward healing.
He was more of a young man that actually cared about who he harmed.
We introduce you to the woman turning her pain into a lesson for others.
Plus, breaking barriers in the tech world.
It's a real thing that women don't really feel all that welcome.
How one Colorado woman's experience has inspired her to create a space to learn without fear.
This was so amazing.
Plus, all hands on deck, how one group braved the snow to make sure a local veteran got some much needed home repairs this weekend.